better turn things around. So I'm live on YouTube and on Facebook. There we go. Much better. All right. I think I worked it out. Don't try to schedule in a webcam live on YouTube. That's my belief. I'm probably wrong. Got wire mess behind me. I was trying to hide it with my body. There you go. Okay, so I'm talking about improv. Isn't that wonderful? By all means, if I can answer comments or anything live, then I obviously will. I haven't done streaming like this before, so forgive me if I fail to manage that. I certainly don't know where it is on on YouTube. I think I can manage it on Facebook. Anyway, yeah, so I've been teaching in Wales since 2006. It's basically my first port of call when it comes to teaching improv. So I'm invested in the Welsh improv scene, very much so. And I thought what would be nice is if I just go through the history of improv in Wales. However, I must suggest that. Oh, hello, Krisha. I must suggest that I've forgotten most of the history of improv in Wales. I apologise, but I made a few notes yesterday and just realised how much I had forgotten. The good point to make is that I've posted about these things in the past, and in the early days of improv in Wales, that came from Paul Z. Jackson. So he's managed to correct me once or twice about certain details. So if you're really interested, that's always a good person to go to. But I'll give you some ins and outs of what's happened. I'll probably talk about all of Wales, because why not? So working backwards, I guess. So obviously, I've got the stuff I've been doing and still I am doing in Wales. I don't live in Wales, but I go there when I can. The pandemic has stopped that, obviously. But a point to say, I am going to be in Cardiff in June 25th. If that is a weekend, I do the weekend workshops, 25th and 26th of June. I'll be there. So please come along, book on, come do some improv with me. That's my Fundamentals of Improv Comedy Level 1. Before that, there was, I think actually just before the pandemic, someone else was starting some improv that I hadn't heard about, and they hadn't heard about what I'd been doing or I'm doing there. I think that's the case. Actually, I think that's actually in Basingstoke. I teach all over the place, but in Basingstoke that probably happened. In Cardiff, I don't think it's been there for a while, apart from what I've done. Going backwards, I'm wearing my old collective's hoodie, which was Ludus Ludius. I had a youth group as well in Cardiff, so that happened, and that was great fun. And they became adults, and I didn't get more young people to do improv. So that was great fun. With them, I had managed to get them into a festival in France. They'd performed. The group performed in Bristol. The name of them, Circumstances. Only one of them actually could attend, so I hopped on stage, and that was fun. What else did I want to say? They went to Newport as well. The company itself created various productions over the years. I was there for a while, so lots and lots happened, to be quite honest. Yeah, apart from the stuff I had done, there was an all-female group called Slow Genius, who moved to Bristol and then disbanded once went to Bristol. A lovely thing with them is just before they moved, they studied with Zenprov. Two improvisers from Chicago were in the UK, and they were training up. And what was great there is that Zenprov is a really nice way of thinking about improv. And they had a podcast, so if you're interested in who I'm talking about, you can get it from their mouth rather than mine. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I booked them or hosted their workshop in London a couple of years later, which is how I found out about that connection. Backwards then, Adam Porter, I think he has a stage name as well, or that might be his stage name. It's been a while, so I can't remember. But he had a Cardiff University student improv group called Theatre Anarchy. And when they graduated, they became 4 chairs, I believe. So that's some Cardiff improv history there. And before that, obviously, Rob Brydon was doing improv with Paul Z. Jackson back in the day, but I think that group was in Bath. Again, Paul would need to correct me about that. I've met some improvisers that weren't doing improv when I was in Cardiff, and they were in a group that I believe they called Spontaneous Combustion, which was full of BBC writers and such. Yeah, there is a well-known group of older improvisers called Spontaneous Combustion, so I haven't actually looked into if they were the same group or not, but I don't think so, because we got them booked into Bristol Festival when I was involved with Bristol. And I would have thought it would come up somehow, you know. Yeah. Other wonders of improv in Cardiff specifically. I'm searching the noggin to try and find out if I've got anything else in my mind. Oh, obviously, back to me. I had a student group as well when I was a student in Cardiff. But this was through the University of Glamorgan, because that's where I studied for film acting and such. It was great, really cool. It wasn't formally associated with the university, but it didn't need to be. It was people gathering to do improv, and it was great fun. And we were called GIT, Glamorgan Improvisation Troupe, because that's funny, isn't it, being called GIT. And we did all sorts back then. I never had one specific interest when it comes to improv or improvisation. My interests have always been quite vast and wide. I believe under that name, I even did a solo movement-based improv show, which no one understood at all, which was great fun. Retrospectively, being told no one understood what you did is not so good in the moment, especially after a show when you're exhausted and empty. But it was an interesting endeavor anyway. This was obviously a long time ago, really early in my career as an improviser. So that happened. Yeah. Years later, I got an invite to do some dance-based improv in Bristol Jam, which was an improv festival hosted by the Bristol Old Vic. And there was a New York dance improviser that was in Bristol at the time and didn't live in Bristol. I think they lived in Manchester, but they came over and did some improv there and gathered some improvisers. And that was a fun experience. I really enjoyed that. But I'm supposed to be talking about Wales, and I've gone off track here. So onwards, going west, there are 2 improv groups. One was associated with a theatre company, but this is where, as I said at the beginning, I've forgotten a lot of details, and I can't remember the location, the theatre company's name, nor what they decided their improv shows were being called. So I apologize. Further onwards, Swansea had an actor was hosting or running some improv through the Swansea Grand Theatre. And again, my memory has disappeared on these things. I've been doing other research, and I blame that. I've forgotten all these other details that I used to know. And further west, Aberystwyth, they had a university group called Exploding Fish Society, Improv Society. And they were around for a long while, doing very cool stuff. And very awesome improvisers sprang out of that society. Nowadays, I think they have ABBA Comedy Society, and they do improv, I believe. And then I guess we have to go to North Wales after that, because Bangor also has a comedy society that would do improv. There did used to be a inter-university maybe collaboration, maybe competition, I can't remember. I was pushing for the competition, inter-university competition, a couple of years ago. Haven't set up other student groups since. So that may have been happening years ago, to try and remember where that actually ended up. The actual competition I was promoting didn't actually happen, but it would be cool if it does at some point. Don't need to be in a rush, do we? Don't need to be in a rush. Let's thinky. Yeah, so those are lots of the improv that's happened around Wales. So if you just arrived, I've been talking about improv in Wales and the history. Not saying I'm a historian with it. I used to know a lot more than I do now, as I keep saying, but I just noticed someone came on, so just an update. They've also, in Wales, there's also been playback theatre, and if you don't know what playback theatre is, I definitely recommend going to find out. Lots of improvisers in the UK but have done some playback as well. It's really quite fun and cool. I think the one in Wales is called Golden Thread. I haven't seen them, but I found them when trying to remind myself of some of these details. Yeah. So these are some fun little things from Wales and improv. There are loads of musicians that improvise in Wales. There's a whole Facebook group. I haven't connected with them as much, but they do exist. If I remember correctly, when I was at university in Wales, there was a trio from the University of Lecturers, I think, and they would do improvised music together, which was very fun. Talking about university, the Glamorgan University hosted an improvisation symposium in 2007 that I went to. That was very cool. And that trio would have performed there. There was some wonderful Buto and some Al Wonder spoke, and that was really cool. If you don't know who Al Wonder is, again, just go Google these things that I'm saying. Yeah, it's a really, really cool symposium that was. And not obviously, but Chris Johnson was there, the late great Chris Johnson. Numerous books that have been left behind from him departing this plane. So another resource that I'm giving you here. Go look that guy up. And he was there, and it was interesting, very fun. That to talk with him. I think actually that might have been the first time I met Guy Dartnell, and I went to a workshop of his. He had connections with Improbable, probably still does. I haven't followed much recently of his work, but these, I'm just talking lots of hopefully factual things here. I don't know if it's of any interest to anyone. As such, my ums and ahs will have to stop soon because I've ran out of history of Welsh improv. Well, improv in Wales. So There we go. Just to note, I am in Wales on the 25th and 26th of June. You can book my Level 1 Fundamentals of Improv Comedy course on Eventbrite. So just go there, search it out. There's links on my socials, and you can sign up to my newsletter as well, which you can find on my Facebook pages, or if you're on YouTube, you can find it in the description when I put it on there afterwards, because I was fiddling about at the beginning of this. Yeah, so see you soon, hopefully. Come do some improv. Thank you, and bye-bye.